Welcome to Authenticity Unleashed. I'm your host, Pam Rader, and I have a solo episode here for you today that is deeply personal. And I'm sharing in the hope that this helps some of our listeners if you have been dealing with heartbreak, or perhaps you have a person in your life who's dealing with heartbreak. I've got some science, some tools, and some as lived experience that I want to pass along that is going to help you and anyone you know deal with the pain of a broken heart. So, welcome to the show. If you're new here, I am a life and leadership coach, a best-selling author, a speaker, and mostly just a human being who is dedicated to helping others get a little more free. I'm committed to seeking the truth and speaking the truth. And sometimes, folks, the truth hurts. And let me tell you, recently, a couple of months ago, I had a truth arise in my life that hurt very deeply. I had a conversation with my husband shortly before Christmas about how it was so lovely that we were so happy. And he looked at me and said, "Are we? I don't know if I am." And that was the first I'd heard of it in 19 years. Never once opened his mouth and said he wasn't happy. That led to a lot of digging in, some therapy on his part, etc. And I could feel the pulling away. I did everything that I knew how to do. I asked questions, I held space, I dove into my own inner work, and I approached him with empathy and compassion, and it finally all came to a head. I said to him, "I have all the space in the world for you to go through your process of whatever this is you're confronting." And I won't share what he's confronting because that's his story to tell, not mine. He's looking back at some things in his life from his childhood and dealing with whatever he's dealing with. But I have the capacity to stay and to be in that and to support and to nurture and to have the deep conversations and all of that. But I had a boundary, and the boundary was, I'm willing to do that if you're committed to getting to the other side of this, that the commitment is that this is all for us to be better. And his answer to that was, "I guess I'm going to leave then." Whoa. Like, whoa. And I'm not sharing this to throw him under the bus in any way. I'm just sharing this so that those of you who have had your whole life come apart in one moment know that I am acutely aware of exactly what that feels like. I had not entertained that. That had not even been a in my awareness kind of thing in 19 years. And suddenly it's a reality. Because the moment he said that, this is where all the work kicks in. I am committed to living in truth, and even if the truth hurts, I know it will ultimately set me free. I don't want to live in a relationship where someone is questioning whether they want to be with me or not. I'm a pretty great lady, fantastic in a lot of ways. Sure, I got work to do, like everybody, but I'm not going to waste my time chasing someone or begging someone to be in a relationship with me if they don't want to. The second half of that is, if I actually love someone, I want them to be happy. And as much as this is very hurtful, I do want for my husband to be happy. I want him to go find whatever it is he's looking for out there. If it is out there, it's probably not. It's more likely within him. And I want him to find that thing that he's looking for. And I don't want to hold somebody back. So that's the higher part of me, knowing all of that. And then there is the very human part of me that felt the very specific pain that heartbreak is, that felt the searing knife in my heart, in my gut, the immediate loss of appetite, the immediate shattering of what I thought was my future, of all of my sense of security, of really a lot of even who I thought I was up until then. And that shattering is really the first stage of heartbreak. It's the first stage of loss, of grief, is the shattering of the life that you thought you had, the illusion of security or certainty. And during that time, there are a lot of chemical things that are happening in your brain and in your body that, if you understand them, can really help you. I did a deep dive into all of this stuff because I am committed to observing myself. I'm committed to doing as much work as possible to come out of this more whole, more complete, more alive, more vital, more aligned, but also to learn how to help others through this. And so, what I learned about the shattering phase is really interesting. Our brains are just chemical machines, right? And our brains love dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical that produces pleasure, and it feels like safety and security. And we like that hit of dopamine. When we live with a partner for a long time, it doesn't even have to be a long time, I guess, but 19 years, my body, my brain are used to turning to my husband for that dopamine hit of security, of reassurance, if there's somebody there, the comfort. And all of a sudden, everything that you turn to for comfort is gone. And your brain literally takes it as a mortal threat and it starts seeking the dopamine. And you will want to reach out to your partner and understand and try to get closure and confront. And I witnessed all of that in me. Now, the experts have something to say about this. The experts say that if you can do 30 days of no contact, you give your brain a chance to recalibrate, to look in other places for comfort and not to continue to be addicted to your relationship. And that's exactly what it's like. The first symptoms of a breakup, of a heartache, are exactly those of someone withdrawing from drugs. There are physical and mental painful symptoms because your brain is used to seeking comfort in that particular place and it's now been taken away. So I found this really helpful because there are many times I wanted to reach out. There are many times I thought I wanted closure or questions to be answered, and I stopped myself. Now, we do have things we have to discuss. We've got a home, we've got, things that have to be split, etc. So there were some conversations, but I did my best to keep it to a very minimum because every time you have contact with that person, that sort of reinforces the old pathways and you sort of start the clock over again. And I thought, I don't want to do that. This is painful enough the first time around. I don't want to do that. So when we understand that there's a chemical reason why we feel so shattered, I think that that's actually really helpful. And that the second stage of after the shattering is withdrawal. Like withdrawal of all those chemicals that were created within the relationship. And now our body and mind are looking for those chemicals somewhere else. So I did what I knew how to do. I dove into community. I ate well. I practiced yoga. I went out into the forest. I did some cold plunges. I connected with dear friends. I did everything that I knew how to do to regulate my nervous system, to show my brain and my body that those chemicals can be found in other places so that I could start thinking clearly about what I want in my future and not just be clouded by this desire for pain to end. Making decisions from a place of I just want this pain to end is short-sighted, and I know that. So understanding that withdrawal was a part of the process helped me to be able to put the phone down. I haven't looked once at his social media. I have not asked other people what he's doing. I've just let it be as much as I can. Now, the third part of healing from a heartbreak is internalizing the rejection. I mean, at the end of the day, I recognize that I was the one who created the boundary and said, if you can't be here, then you have to go. So he might perceive that as a rejection, but there's still rejection involved. And we can tend to go down the pathway of making that mean all kinds of things about us and be very binary about it, very black and white, like it was all good and it was wonderful. Or now we see the relationship differently and we start looking at little signs we maybe didn't notice before, and then we vilify that person. And it's all bad and we feel foolish. How did I not see that? And we let anger sort of take over. But internalizing the rejection is part of the process of healing, just like recognizing that, someone let me go and I'm okay. And then doing the inner reflection of who do I want to be from this? What did I learn? Could I have maybe done things differently in the past to be a better version of myself? And what do I want to do going forward? And I found in that I could be thankful for a lot of the great things about my marriage and still entertain some of the disappointments. But seeing the whole picture, feeling it, and knowing that rejection is not fatal. We act like it is, we feel like it might be, but I kept reminding myself that rejection is God's protection. It's God's protection. The universe, creator, whatever you want to call it, spirit, but something was intervening divinely so that I could evolve to the next level of my life and self and person and wholeness that I wouldn't be able to do within that relationship. And I saw that very clearly. Now, the fourth stage is actually rage. It's getting really angry. And as I said, if you focus on everything that went wrong, you could get really angry. And then there's the whole, this isn't fair, this is happening to me. And let me tell you, folks, I was angry mostly about the financial situation, being put in a situation at 53 years old where now I have to think about, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And do I have to work longer? Do I have to ramp up my business more? What is the consequence of all of this? And having that financial insecurity made me feel so angry. I thought, how dare you? You know, I supported you when you were so young and you didn't make any money, and I paid for holidays and, on and on and on. I had all my reasons. And then you finally start making good money and you jump ship. And it's fine to entertain that for a moment, but you don't want to live there. It's not nice to live in rage. It's destructive when we resist reality. Constructive anger is just anger that catalyzes you to go out there and do something different. Destructive anger is when you are focusing on something that shouldn't have happened. Why did it happen? All of those kinds of questions and reflections, those will just keep you stuck and miserable and toxic. And frankly, I don't think you're going to attract a very nice partner if you stay in that energy. And I know that I want to make this marriage and the subsequent dissolution of the marriage means something powerful in my life. I want to have it make me a better person. I want to take the learning from it and apply it in whatever's next for me. And I want to call in a partner that's as spiritually aligned and connected as I am, and who has a level of emotional maturity that I'm at, that, there was definitely a difference there in our marriage. And so I think the last stage of healing is really like the lifting. And that's part of that is rewriting the story. Like looking at all the things. What did I learn? How did I grow? Who will I become because of this? And I've been doing a lot of that. And I'm feeling pretty strong. I'm feeling okay. But what I do want to say is that none of this is linear. You can start right back at stage one, just like that. You can have rage come up, sadness come up, feel sick to your stomach one minute. I was driving home from Vancouver last weekend. I went for my future daughter-in-law's wedding dress shopping, and it was such a lovely day. I went to visit some friends, had a beautiful time. And as I was driving home, I thought, this is the first time I've been anywhere in my life, really, as a single person, with no kids at home, unattached. And I had this profound sadness come over me. And instead of doing something rash or reaching out or calling him or distracting myself, I just felt bad. And I reminded myself that the firsts of everything will probably be challenging. Now, I'm not trying to tell anyone how to do heartbreak. But what I will just say is this, me understanding that there was a chemistry to it, and there are these stages, just like stages of grief when we lose someone to death, it helped me recognize where I was at and then know what to do. Now, the hardest part is that I think as human beings, we all want closure, and we think that closure is going to come from the other person. But I can tell you that it won't. No amount of reasoning, rationalizing, explanation, none of that. It doesn't change the reality. And therefore, what you do is you just renew that whole dopamine cycle again and cause yourself more suffering. So this 30-day moratorium, it's been talked about on Mel Robbins' podcast and her book, but there are experts all over the place that tout this 30-day detox so that you can think clearly and make decisions from that clear mind to help heal your heart. I think that's just gold, and I want to share that. Now, the other thing that I would love to share with all of you is this. I've had so many people come to me and say, "Sheesh, Pam, you have had such a tough life. You can't catch a break. There must not be a God. Oh my God, I can't even believe it." I want you to know that never crossed my mind. I have had the gift of many challenges in my life, and as awful as this has been, and as much as I wouldn't wish it on someone, I am grateful. And I'm not just saying that. I am grateful for the clearing of space to make space for the next evolution of me, for the next evolution that I have asked for, called in, that I've desired, and that the universe, God, creator is making space for in my life. And I trust. I have deep faith that that's exactly what's being orchestrated here because everything in my life has happened for me. I'm deeply grateful to my family and my friends and my community, especially my yoga community. Walking into the studio and seeing this incredible group of people that come day after day and have been there year after year, and just being in their presence and knowing that I'm surrounded by like-minded people has helped immensely. The other thing that's helped me really process is sharing without shame. And I can't stress this enough. Sharing without shame is a game changer. What do I mean by that? The moment my husband left, I just sent out like kind of a mass text to friends and family and said, this is what happened. My husband and I are splitting up. And I didn't give anybody a big explanation. I didn't embellish anything. I just stated the fact. And I know so many people wait because they don't know how to explain it or they feel some shame that they're being left and then they've got to come up with some reason and then they have to vilify the other person. Hey, it's okay. Stuff comes apart sometimes. Two good people with great intentions, sometimes it just comes apart. You don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't owe anybody the dirty details, but you get to share your story without shame. I will not share my now ex-husband's story. That's his story to share, right? But I can share mine. And I hope that in the sharing of my story, that if you are going through heartbreak or you know someone who's going through heartbreak, please share this with them. That perhaps there's something in this telling of my story that alleviates something. If nothing else, that you know that you're not alone, that it's a very human thing to go through heartbreak. It's a part of the human experience. I don't think any of us get out of it unscathed with this very particular kind of pain that heartbreak is. But remember that withholding love and staying angry causes more pain in the long run. So my invitation is to stay open, to stay clear, and to trust that you're being directed to something even greater. And as you all know, we see what we believe. And I believe that there are big things in store for me, and there are big things in store for you. If you got something from the show or you think someone you know could get something from the show, please share the show. It's so important to me that we just have real talk in the world about real stuff and give people permission to feel what they feel and be authentic. And perhaps my story will help someone out there not feel so alone and maybe give them some little tidbits as to how to move forward. If you're curious about working one-on-one with me, check out pamrader.com and book a discovery call. On the discovery call, there's no obligation. We can just get on a call, look at where you're stuck, and I'd be happy to give you some guidance and see if working together is a good fit for you. I also run leadership programs and coaching certification programs that are top-notch, world-class, and I would love for you to check them out at shiftlabs.ca. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. Until next time.